Hey, what's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention some of my socials in the description of the video. If you want to support the channel, please check those out. If you want to support the channel in other ways, please consider just dropping a like or a nice comment somewhere on the video. It really helps the algorithm push our content out there to a broader audience. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the episode. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here, back into the video. Today's episode, we're going to be taking a quick look at Mistweaver Monk Macros. We are currently awaiting the release of War Within. We're just kind of sitting here in Orgrimmar. I figured I'd make a video real quick while there's nothing else to do. It is Thursday at the moment, and the expansion will be dropping here in just a few hours. And then one thing I wanted to talk about, since this is a macro video, I don't know how I missed this, but apparently Mouseover Macros are now built into the game. If you're not familiar with what a Mouseover Macro is, basically it's a way to cast spells on targets without having to click on them. And that's very useful because as a healer, we don't want to be clicking all over party frames. The more clicks, the slower we do things, the more cognitive overload, the more things that you have to think about. So we want to simplify things as much as we can. So typically, Mouseover Macros are a very good thing to add. So this is already built into our settings. You just have to enable it. And this is the reason that I have such a long macro list, is like 90% of the stuff is just Mouseover Macros. And I don't know how I missed this, but apparently, I guess at some point in Dragonflight, this was added to the game. But you just go into options, you type in the word, you go to the search bar, you type in the word Mouseover, and this will be unchecked. You just check it. And that's literally it. And that will save you from having to make 50 macros if you play 2 or 3 different alts. So yeah, just wanted to quickly go over this in case anybody wasn't aware. So let's just go ahead and take a quick look at some macros that you can use while playing Mistweaver Monk. I kind of talked about this stuff in one of my pre-patch videos, and this stuff will also, whenever I do like a full Mistweaver Monk guide, will be in that video as well. But I'm trying to kind of separate some of the stuff out because not everybody watches every single video, right? So I'm just trying to take all this information between all these different specs and try to evenly space it out over the course of like a season, right? All right, let's first go into one of the more useful macros, one of the most simple ones too. This is going to be our Ring of Peace macro. So you can kind of see here, I have it called Ring of Peace, Show Tooltip, Ring of Peace, Cast at Cursor, Ring of Peace. If you're familiar with macros, what this is going to do is, let's just go into our base Ring of Peace here really quick and kind of show you. It's just going to cast Ring of Peace at your cursor though, right? So normally you have this green sort of targeter that you can use to drop your Ring of Peace wherever you want. And, you know, normally that's not a bad thing. It's just an extra click, and you've got to kind of position it as well. So it, you know, probably takes an extra second-ish, maybe 2, but normally about an extra second to kind of place it where you want, and then also follow through with that extra click. So the nice thing about this macro here is you just press the button, and whatever your cursor's at, it's going to drop it. So my cursor's right here in between these dummies. So I'm just going to press Alt-3, which is where my macro is. It just drops it for me automatically. I don't have to mess with that green cursor. Very nice macro. One thing with Ring of Peace though, you want to be very careful with it, because if you drop it in between the middle of a pack like this, you're going to split the pack and it's going to mess up the damage profile of the pool. So typically what I like to do is I like to drop it on the edge of a pack, knock the outside mobs into these mobs, get everything nice and stacked, and then your tank here can kind of go back and forth in between your Ring of Peace and kind of utilize it to mitigate some damage. Another useful one that I use is Thunder Focus T. I'll kind of show you what that one looks like. You scroll down here and find it really quick. So I just have it called T, and I pair it with Enveloping Mist. You can pair this with whatever spell you want. So just to kind of show you here, Thunder Focus T, you can pair it with Enveloping Mist, Renewing Mist, Vivify, Rising Sun Kick, or Expel Harm. So you can change the macro to fit whatever spell you want. I just personally use it with Enveloping Mist just because you get so much raw healing out of it. But it could also be really good with something like Expel Harm for that Absorb Shield as well. So again, I pair this with Enveloping Mist. You can change the macro here to, you know, whatever spell you want that was in that list that we just looked at. And the beauty of this, right now it's on my 5 key, is I can just come in here and press T, then I get an instant cast Enveloping Mist out. You kind of see it appear in the top right. And through Enveloping Mist, you know, we get the burst heal, we get the heal over time, and we get that 40% increased healing from it. So that's just kind of why I like to pair it with Enveloping Mist. You Can't really go wrong with it. Okay, the next macro I want to talk about is my single target healing macro. And basically what this does is it casts a soothing mist, an enveloping mist into Vivify spam. So one thing to note on this macro is it does have a reset counter of 1 second. So if you are not spamming it, you can change this to 2 seconds if you want. That's up to you. But if you're not spamming the button, this will actually reset itself and you're just going to spam Soothing Mist over and over. So you kind of have to press the button somewhat quickly. So to show you what that looks like, I'm going to cast Soothing Mist. And you can see here after 1 second, it went back to Soothing Mist. So when I press it again, it's just going to continue to cast Soothing Mist. Now, the way that it's supposed to be used is you're supposed to kind of spam it. And you can see as I spam it, I cast an Enveloping Mist, and now I'm casting all these Vivifies. Once I get through the Vivifies, the channel just restarts. So Soothing Mist, Enveloping Mist, Vivify, Vivify, Vivify. And this is really strong, but it's also really expensive. You can see I just burned through 1/3 of my mana bar right there. But the beauty of this macro is it takes a lot of the complication out of it. It takes a lot of the button bloat out of it as well. Now let's talk about this just a little bit more in case we do have some newer Mistweaver monks in the video. Soothing Mist is going to make our Enveloping Mist and our Vivify both instant cast. So Enveloping Mist is a huge heal over time effect. It also gives us 40% more healing. It does a ton of burst healing, but it's a little bit expensive. So what we'll do is we'll channel a Soothing Mist. We'll get that instant cast Enveloping Mist. We'll get that extra healing from it, that 40% buff, and we'll channel all of that healing into Vivify spams. And again, since we're channeling Soothing Mist, those Vivify casts are instant cast as well. And you can see here at the very bottom, it also has a chance to proc our Mastery Gust of Mist. So this is probably, I would argue, the strongest single target heal in the game, you know, outside of like obviously like Lay on Hands or something. But this is the strongest spam of single target healing that you can do in the game, in my opinion. And of course, like we just talked about, that comes at a big cost, a lot of mana, right? And then if you want even more value, you can take the statue talent here and you can spam it. And you can see I'm getting even more healing by channeling our statue onto ourselves, right? It's channeling that Soothing Mist onto it. Okay, now let's quickly talk about our Rising Sun Kick macro here, our single target damage macro. So one of the cool things about playing Mistweaver Monk is we kind of heal through our damage, right? So I've kind of created this little macro here. And what this does is it takes a little bit of the button bloat and complication out of your damage rotation. So I'd say your damage can be split really into two. Warrior's kind of loud. Your damage can kind of be split into 2 different phases, right? You got your AoE damage with Spinning Crane Kick and your Jade Fire Stomp. And then you get your single target damage through Rising Sun Kick, Palm, and Blackout Kick. So what this does, I messed up the macro just a little bit there. What this does is it'll cast Rising Sun Kick, which will also put out a Renewing Mist out on an ally. So Rising Sun Kick does a ton of damage, it does a ton of healing, and it puts out a Renewing Mist. So you always want to prioritize this. Then through our Teachings of the Monastery, what we can do is Tiger Palm twice and then Blackout Kick. And that's going to make our Blackout Kick strike 4 times. So Teachings of the Monastery here, Tiger Palm causes your next Blackout Kick to strike an additional time, stacking up to 4 times. Also has a chance to reset our Rising Sun Kick. So you always want to be Tiger Palming twice before a Blackout Kick. That way your Blackout Kick strikes 4 times. Now another reason this is also very important is due to our talent here, Ancient Concordance. Basically our Blackout Kick is going to strike up to 3 additional targets. So not only is it striking 4 additional times by Tiger Palming twice, we're also hitting the targets around us 4 additional times as well. So the way I've always understood our damage profile, I kind of said earlier that Rising Sun Kick or this little macro was a single target macro, but I've always heard this macro should be used at 4 or less targets, and then at 5+ targets, you just literally drop Jade Fire and spam Spinning Crane Kick. So yeah, guys, just a quick video for today. Nothing super in depth, just something that I thought could be useful. If you're just on YouTube and you play Mistweaver Monk, you saw this pop up. Hopefully this can help you in some sort of way. One thing I would like is if you guys have any macros that you utilize that I didn't go over in this video, please let me know in the comments. I'm actually starting a spreadsheet for each healer spec where I can just kind of have a full list of macros, and I'm going to end up sharing that with the community at some point. But right now I'm just trying to kind of build the list out. So if there's anything like very obvious that I missed here, please drop it in the comments below or put it in our Discord channel and I will add it to the spreadsheet. All right, guys, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.